Okay.
Hi, I'm Alexis.
What up? I'm Aaron.
I'm Wesley. Brian. Madeline.
I'm doing my speech over fate versus free will. In the mind, there is no absolute or free will, but the mind is determined to wish this or that by a cause, which has also been determined by another cause, and this last by another cause, and so on to infinity, says Baruch Spinoza. According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, fate is the will principle or determining cause by which things in general are believed to come to be as they are, or events to happen as they do, whereas free will is voluntary or spontaneous. The conflict of fate and free will is the timing. Fate is hidden, whereas free will is controlled by human nature. Or can there be a fate of free will? Baruch Spinoza's statement explains that there is a plan for this world, and everyone is tied in and has a predestined future. Now, a little about the history of free will. The notion of a free will emerged from powerful assumptions about the relation between divine providence, correctness of individual choice, and self-enslavement due to incorrect choice, according to Michael Fried in his book titled A Free Will, Origins of the Notion in Ancient Thought. The origin of free will dates back to the ancient and medieval periods. Exactly when is of much debate. However, if we look more generally for philosophical reflection on choice, directed control over one's action, then we will find significant discussion in Plato and Aristotle's. It says the Standard Encyclopedia of Philosophy by Stanford University. To continue, we will look further into fate, originating from Greek mythology. In classical and European mythology, there are three goddesses dispensing fate who determines the events of the world, and they imply there is no choice and all ends with death. In Greek mythology, the goddess is named Marae. In Roman mythology, the goddess is named Parsi, and in Norse mythology, the goddess is named Norns. Now that you know what fate and free will are, we will look into a few examples of where it can be applied. The first example that has already been mentioned is in Greek mythology. In this, there is no ultimate choice. Fate always wins. Just a few examples are when Oedipus tries his best to avoid prophecy that says he will kill his father and marry his mother in Oedipus Rex. Despite his efforts, it all comes true. Another example is when Perseus is sent adrift with his mother, Danae, because of the prophecy that he would one day overthrow King Asius, in which he did. A third example would be when Troy would not be taken without Achilles' help, and it eventually led to the Greeks raiding and defeating Troy, although Achilles was eventually shot in the Achilles tendon with an arrow. The second example of when fate versus free will can be applied is in the law of physics. The law of physics are three laws proposed by Isaac Newton to describe the motion of a body upon bodies, used as the basis of classical mechanics. The first law states that a body remains at rest or in uniform motion in a straight line unless acted upon by a force. The second law states that a body's rate of change of momentum is proportional to the body due to another body, then equal and opposite forces act simultaneously on that body. Fate and free will can be applied to these laws because both have aspects that can prevent many choices we would like to make. For example, turning back time. There are aspects in our lives that limit our choices. We can only run so fast, we can only be so strong, and we can only be so smart. Another example where fate versus free will can be applied are in religious views. In the Jewish tradition, followers assume their ultimate choice by humans, especially in their relationship with God. Followers go as far as to negotiate with God and win. To elaborate on such, an example would be when Abraham negotiated for the conditions under which Sodom and Gomorrah might be saved. He bargains God down from 50 just people to 10. In the religion of Christianity, there has been much debate over its history, being it predestination or free will. Many ask the question, if predestination is true, how can there be free will? Finally, we come to the thought of answering which is it, fate or free will. In conclusion, if you want to know the answer to that question, you have to answer it for yourself. Consider your beliefs, your thoughts, and your ideologies. It's no question that someone else can answer it for you. Think about it. Which is it to you, fate or free will?